I want to go in a different direction tonight. I want to discuss the diminished chord in a very practical way. Most of all, I want to be able to communicate with 8-year-olds as easily as with teens and adults. First of all, let's discuss the name of this chord and where that name came from. Let's use the key of C major as our model. There are 7 triads and their chord symbols are C, D minor, E minor, F, G, A minor, and B diminished. So when we get to B, D, F, we call it a diminished triad. Here is how you can easily remember the name. You get to that name by playing a minor chord and lowering the 5th. Think of playing a B minor chord and lowering F sharp to F natural. However, this diminished triad does not tell us very clearly what it is, and that is because it instantly can turn into 3 different chords. It can turn into a G7 chord, a B half diminished chord, or another chord with 4 notes called a B diminished 7 chord. And until we play that 4th note, we aren't sure what that chord really is. The B diminished triad has a serious identity crisis. This B diminished triad is often written as B diminished. When we add a 4th note on the top, it is often written as B diminished 7. The B diminished name comes from one form of the chord, which is a snowman. So the name assumes the spelling B, D, F, A flat. The 7 simply refers to the 7th letter, A, in the sequence B, C, D, E, F, G, and A. So this name is based on both the sound of the chord and its notation. Now comes the rabbit hole, and there is always a rabbit hole in my videos. It turns out there is a total disconnect between traditional theory and modern letter chord notation. You want to remember that in chord notation there is no set spelling for a diminished 7 chord. When you see B diminished 7, you can't assume that A flat will be on the top. It is just as likely that G sharp will be on the top, and the reason for that is that in chord notation a diminished chord is always named by the bottom note regardless of spelling. A letter chord symbol only describes what a chord is. It never tries to tell us where that chord came from or where that chord is going to go to next. So if a B diminished 7 chord is going to a G7 chord, then we will use an A flat on the top because it looks best. But if a B diminished 7 chord is going to an E7 over B chord, then we will use a G sharp at the top because it looks the best. And if a B diminished 7 chord is going to a B half diminished chord, again we're going to use the G sharp at the top because, again, it looks the best. So here are the important points to remember. The diminished 7 chord got its name by adding a 4th note on the top of a diminished triad and then spelling the whole chord as a snowman chord. But this traditional name will not tell you its spelling on the page, so be ready for it to have various looks in the way it is notated. And most of all, remember that the spelling is chosen by what the next chord is going to be. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Leave me comments about anything you like, anything that you would like to see in the future, and remember that I consider all suggestions.